Hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Automation Digest. Today we will be talking about the architecture of Playwright. So without wasting time, let's get into a whiteboard and let's understand the architecture. So as a tester, we would have written the code in our own language. The languages that Playwright supports are Node.js, Java, Python, .NET. We would have chosen any one of this language to write our code. Once we write this code, what Playwright does is it creates a WebSocket connection. Now that WebSocket connection is established with Playwright server. Now the WebSocket connection means that the connection stays alive unless either the client or the server disconnects the connection. It is a stateful protocol. Now to understand more about it, we have to go back and understand the different mode of transmission. There are three modes. One is simplex, half duplex, and full duplex. First, simplex. Whenever the client and the server communicate via unidirectional communication, which means the sender can only send data and not receive it. The simple example of it can be our keyboard, where we are sending the request but not receiving it. The next type is a half duplex, where the message is sent and received by both participants but not at the same time, which means machine A can send the message. While it is sending the message, it cannot receive. Whereas machine B, while sending the message, cannot receive a message. But both of them can send and receive message at different points of time. Coming to full duplex, here the connection is a bidirectional simultaneous connection where server and the client can communicate without any obstruction. They can communicate simultaneously. Coming back to our discussion, for Playwright, the commands or the codes that we would have written in the languages gets converted into Playwright server understandable language, and they are sent to the server using full duplex type of communication through WebSocket, which uses stateful protocol, which means the state is preserved, unless the client or the server terminates it. Once we have the details in our Playwright server, the Playwright server then communicates with the actual browser. It uses CDP or CDP-like protocols to communicate with browsers. It uses CDP for Chromium and CDP-like protocols for WebKit and Firefox. WebKit is used for Safari. Now, this is more or less the protocol that Playwright acquires. The benefit of it is because we have a WebSocket protocol over here where the commands are getting transferred from the language to the Playwright server, it does not end the connection, which means it stays alive throughout the program. This makes the flakiness reduced and commands executed faster. Just as we were discussing, this is how it works. We have the languages. From the languages, we send a request to the Playwright server through the WebSocket connection or the Playwright protocol. Now, the Playwright server communicates with the browser using CDP or CDP-like protocols. This is about the Playwright architecture in short. So, the systems used here are first the client. Now, once we have written the languages, the second component comes in picture, which is the WebSocket protocol. Now, the WebSocket protocol uses a full duplex communication as we discussed, and that helps us to communicate with Playwright server. It is a stateful protocol, and the connection between the client and the server stays alive till it is ended by either the client or the server, which means either our program has completed or the server has crashed. Unless we arrive at that situation, our connection does not end. Next component is our Playwright server, where we are getting all the messages converted from our native language. This Playwright server communicates with the actual browsers using CDP or CDP-like protocol. So in short, the communication happens between the client and the Playwright server, where the messages are converted into Playwright server understandable messages sent through the WebSocket protocol. Once the Playwright server receives the message, it communicates with our browser. That's pretty much about Playwright architecture. Thank you for watching. I'll come up with the next set of episodes for Playwright in upcoming days. Till then, happy coding.